All right, let's just dive right in. If you are one of those people that you're a Christian woman and you have something that you really want to do for Jesus, but you do not have time to do it, and you're not really sure if you are ever going to have time to do it, then this is for you. Hi, my name is Amy Nicole, and these are my thoughts on the unhelpful lie and slash belief slash thought slash reality that you do not have time for the things that you really do want to have time for. And I'm just going to say that before we dive in, I have probably, it feels like 10, maybe, I know with all the lights and everything, there's probably like there's just cords everywhere, and there's like 10 different electronics of some kind that need to all work. And right now my mic and my computer are not wanting to communicate, so I am recording this on my phone that I've got right here, and I'm hoping that the sound is all good. If not, I mean, who knows, maybe it'll be better than the expensive mic and the computer, so we'll see. But we are working with what we've got, and it's just throwing me off because it has been very fussy the last little bit, but we are rolling with it, and we're going to keep on moving. So, all right. So I want to talk about the lie that you don't have time, and I am very aware that when we believe like okay, I'm talking about this from my perspective. This has been something that I have had to work through in my own life, where I feel like I don't have time. It is a constant belief, a constant thought, it's a constant feeling, and then it turns into being a constant reality. And I'm very aware that when we have certain beliefs and realities like this, we get so convinced that we do not have time that it becomes a thing that, if I'm sitting here saying you do have time, you might feel that fight rise up in you where you're like, no, I do not have time. And so I want to be strong in what I say, but I also want to be gentle in what I say. And I'm hoping, just stick with me to the end of the video, because hopefully there's something in here that can just help to shift and move something in your life so that you can start to create the time that you are really wanting to have for the things that you are really wanting to be doing. Because I'm very aware that I could sit here and say, well, you do have time, just figure it out. Like, I could look at your life, I could look at your not your budget, but your time budget, your like your schedule. I could look at your schedule and see all the different places that you have time. And yet, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, you do have time, just figure it out. What I am going to say is that if that is the problem that you are facing, and maybe you've been facing it for decades, where you have something that is on your heart that you really want to do for Jesus, because there's many things that I'm sure you want to give your time to, but that's the main thing that my channel is about. So I'm going to assume that you have something that is on your heart that you really want to do for Jesus, and you don't have the time to do it. If that is what you are facing, the problem that is constantly coming up, then what I am going to say is solve that problem. Like, give yourself a day, a week, a month, or a year to solve that problem. Because if that is the main thing that is challenging you, then figure it out. Like, just give it the time that it needs to actually solve it, and figure out what you need to do to fix it and figure it out. Chances are, once you solve that problem, maybe another thing is going to come up, and after that, another thing is going to come up after that. But as you begin to just tackle, like, whatever that problem is that is in front of you, solve that problem, and then the one after that, and the one after that. But what is going to happen is that those problems start to go away, and then you actually begin to have the time and the energy and the clarity to be able to do your God-given work. Because the funny thing, the annoying thing, the frustrating thing about time is that it will mimic or match, or it'll follow the rules of your beliefs and your thoughts. So your beliefs and your thoughts dictate your habits and your choices. So if you are constantly believing and thinking that you don't have time, and that you constantly have to be rushing for I mean, okay, talking from experience, I feel like I'm always behind. That it doesn't matter how hard I work to get ahead, I am always behind. And I've realized over the years that is it's a thought and a belief that I have about time or about myself, my to-do list, whatever, that I'm always behind, and then I live like it. And so when I stop and I look at life, I'm like, I should not be rushing. Like when I'm looking at my life, like I've done the work to slow things down, that it doesn't make sense for me to feel the urgency that I'm feeling. And yet I'm constantly living with this like, it feels like a reality, but it's just like this internal need to be rushing ahead when it just, things are not lining up. And so I've realized that in my own life that this is a very strong belief and thought that I have. And then it dictates my habits and my choices, where I begin to live a life as though it's true that I don't have time. But when I step back and I actually like take control of my own schedule, because I am in control pretty much like 100%, like, yes, we're working within limitations, but you do have control over your schedule. So when you take a step back and you look at it, you like, there's a lot of things you can do within your schedule to create the time for the most important things. And then everything else that isn't so important can just sort of fall off somewhere else and disappear. Another way that you can look at this is in the realm of money, okay, let's just put the time thing on pause for a moment. So if you look at either yourself or someone else someone who's got like bad money habits, right? There's this feeling of, if they never have enough money, that they likely have some unhelpful beliefs and thoughts around money that is kind of keeping them in that place of where they're always spending their money unwisely. And so they're likely going to think that they just need a better job, that the world's out to get them, that they just have to try harder, blah, blah, blah. But reality is that no, because of their beliefs, their beliefs set them up to make choices that is going to constantly be spending they're just going to fall into that trap of spending their money as soon as they get it. And so it really doesn't matter how much money they can make double what they were making originally, and they are still likely going to spend it. Like, getting a bunch of money doesn't mean that they're all of a sudden going to become good at managing it. And so what they need to do instead of making more money is just to tackle the money that they currently have, get used to handling that well, get used to being comfortable saving a little bit more than they were comfortable with yesterday, and then keep on, as the days go by, you keep on increasing your capacity to be able to handle your money. And the same thing applies to your time, where you actually have to get comfortable with saying no to things that maybe you used to say yes to, or with filling up your schedule sun up to sundown. Sun up to sundown, and maybe before sun up to past sundown, if you're one of those people like where you just your schedule just implodes with non-essential stuff, and the most important things are constantly falling off the bandwagon. When what you could do is you step back and you realize, like, okay, maybe you're just uncomfortable with actually having time. You're uncomfortable with like that you could control this, and you've lived so long with a lie and this belief, this unhelpful thought, that you don't have time, that it's become your reality, and that's all that you know, and that's what you're comfortable with and used to. And so what I just want to present the idea that you likely have more time than you realize. It might not be a ton of time, but you can start to tweak and manipulate your schedule so that it begins to work well for you, for your kingdom work, for your walk with God, for your family's walk with God, that you can make your schedule work for the benefit of the most valuable things in your life. And this is super relevant in my life because like I've said many times already, that I have had the belief that I do not have time. And so it has left me with huge pockets of time that I don't know what to do with. And I'm chaotic and I'm scattered. And because how sometimes I think what we do is we're like, okay, well, when I have time, then I'll make a YouTube video. Right? I would totally do that kind of thing. That when I have time, then I'll do it. But the problem is, because I have the belief that I don't have any time, then I'm not organized. I'm not utilizing what time I do have, so that when I do have a big pocket, I'm not set up at all to be able to create a YouTube video. And so, I'm scattered with when I have a little bit of time, I'm scattered when I have a lot of time. And I've had this constant experience that because I have the belief that I don't have time, like reality is I actually do have time, but when I'm faced with these pockets of time where I could have done something with it, I'm lost in it because I thought it wasn't supposed to be there. So then all of a sudden it is there and I'm just lost. So hopefully this is making sense to you guys. It's a very, like, sometimes trying to articulate these things where I'm like, I have this daily experience, but then I typically don't talk about it. So then as I'm trying to talk about it, it's like, oh, it feels weird. So let me know in the comments if either you have had this experience, or if you've had a different experience that's similar to this, or if I'm not making sense at all. Okay, so let's tackle, how do you solve this problem? Because if this is a problem you're facing, you need to solve it. And I feel like I said that weird, but I'm not sure. So we'll just keep going. Okay, if this is a problem that you are facing, we need to solve it. So a great way to solve this is to begin to start asking questions and get curious. Take a step back and look at your life. Look at who you are. Look at your habits. Look at who you've become, who you want to be. Look at just analyze it and sit with it and start to just like pull out a journal and journal about it, and especially talk to the Holy Spirit about it and ask him to show you what is going on in your life, like on every level. And for each one of you, you're going to have different things that stick out to each one of you, and it's a very unique journey for every single one of us. But as you look at your life and you just start to get curious, like, where could I create time? Where are you expecting yourself to get? Maybe your life is just so full of stuff because you are expecting yourself to be everything to everyone. And maybe you need to start saying no to some things. But just as you step back and you begin to ask questions about where you could create time, and maybe where you're you're just like, there's too much of something, where can you decrease stuff, where can you move things around, how can you be more organized and efficient in different areas. That kind of like questions have a way, like statements create sort of like, okay, I haven't really thought through this before, so we'll see if this works. So statements and judgment has a way of just like, it's like it makes your brain more like concrete, where it's like you're just stuck. There's no movement. It's just, this is how it is. This is how it's always going to be. And now we're stuck. So that would be something like saying, I don't have time. Questions have a way of creating more of a spongy brain, and so when you start to ask, like, where could I create time? Then it creates softness, it creates curiosity, it creates movement, and it creates options where you can begin to move and shift things around. And so what you want to do is to start to just cultivate a creative mindset, or a creative just a creative mind, like a curious mind, where you can look at your schedule and start to see things that maybe you didn't see before, and just, like, maybe you are expecting yourself to have put 3 hours towards your kingdom work, when in a week maybe you only have 1 hour. So what can you do? Like, how can you utilize that 1 hour well? And the more that you can just work with what you have, I think you're gonna like the results. And a tool that could be really helpful for you, that I actually recorded this video a couple weeks ago, and I didn't really like how it turned out. So I'm re-recording it now, obviously. But what happened after I recorded it the last time, that it actually got me thinking about this, and I realized some huge things. Okay, so what I had said in the last video that I'm going to say right now is to create 3 pictures for yourself. So one is the picture of your life, like just what goes on in your life, what are all the different aspects of your life, like what is your schedule like, who are you like, how do you work, how do you not work, how does your family work, how does your like, for example, I kind of find that I expect, okay, I sort of have how do I want to say this? I think I expect myself to be performing at a high capacity at least 6 days a week, and it usually ends up being only 4. So that was a really big thing after I recorded the last video, that I realized it's like I'm expecting myself to get a lot of stuff done 6 days a week, and I just don't. Like, whether something comes up, or I'm just not feeling good, or one of my kids isn't feeling good, or it's just an off day, right? That it's like I'm expecting way too much. And so I just realized that when I started to look at my life, still now, even though, like, yeah, I'm talking about it, but I'm constantly making discoveries in my own life. And that, so okay, all that said, you want to get a picture of your life. Like, how does your life work? Because a really bad habit of ours is that we have these goals in life and these things that we want to add into life. And it's just, hey, it's me, Amy, here to interrupt myself to introduce to you the free Step of Faith 5-day mini course that'll take you from chaos to clarity, stuck to small stepping, and helpless to hopeful. Check it out in the description below. If you know what you want to do for Jesus, but despite your best efforts have not been able to make it happen, then this is for you. It's a simple course that is designed to help stop you from spinning your wheels and instead get traction and get moving in the right direction. It starts with the first small step and ends with a life well spent on Jesus. If you're ready to let me help you take that first small step of faith, then click the link below to sign up for free. Our life doesn't work with that. So you want to just get a good picture of, and like, step back, get a good picture of what is your life currently like. The next picture that you want to get is, because again, in this channel, we're talking about your kingdom calling and the thing that is on your heart that you really wanted to do for Jesus. And so you want to get a picture of your kingdom work, but specifically, so here you're going to get 2 pictures of your kingdom work. So one is going to be what you expect, or what you think it's going to be. And this is likely going to be an overwhelming picture. Like, it's going to, where you're just like, I expect that it's going to take way more time than I'm ever going to have. I'm thinking that, if I start to do the thing that I really want to do, God's going to call me to do like 10 other things, and I don't have the capacity for that. And like, so just get a picture of like, what is it that maybe just like, maybe you have a really good idea, and it's a really like a very life-giving idea of what that kingdom work that you're wanting to do. But just in case there's these other lies going on, or this pressure that it's going to be way more than you have capacity for, I want you just to like journal about it and get a good idea of like what is going on with, like, how do you currently perceive your kingdom calling. And then the third picture that I want you to get is, what would be the most ideal picture of your kingdom calling? Like, what is it that is on your heart that you want to do for Jesus? What would be that like, what would it look like if it just like really matched your personality, matched the way you want to walk it out, matched your life, matched your, like, just again, on paper, write out the most ideal way of walking that out in the days that you have left, which of course none of us, we don't know the day we're going to die, but assuming you have time to walk it out, then figure it out. What do you want it to look like? Okay, and then lastly, now that you have these 3 messy pictures, I'm assuming they're going to be messy, but what I'm hoping that this does for you is just to bring some things to the surface, like across, whether you're looking at your life, you're looking at your calling and what you are expecting of yourself, or what you think God is expecting of you, that is just like far bigger than what you could even do. Or the third picture of like, this is what you would love to be able to do, and it'd be amazing if it happened. I want you to just look at those and edit them. So likely the picture of that middle picture where again, I'm totally assuming here that as you start to write this out, because sometimes when we're not doing our kingdom work, it's because what we think we're supposed to be doing, it's just, it comes with a lot of pressure, a lot of noise, a lot of unhelpful stuff. So that would have been the first picture you created. But so that, just maybe put that to the side. But when you look at the kingdom work that you want to be doing, and the most ideal picture at this point, from what you can see and what you're working with, that the ideal picture of what you want to be walking out, you want to take that and your life as you know it and start to edit them. It doesn't mean that this is going to, like, okay, so by edit, I'm saying that how can you make them fit? Because oftentimes our life as we know it and our kingdom work is just super incompatible. And that's just simply because we haven't taken the time to figure out how to work with them so that they support each other. But the truth is that your life can totally support your kingdom work, and your kingdom work can breathe life into your life and your schedule, your family life and your relationships, and especially into your walk with Jesus. So take the time to figure out how do you need to maybe you ideally want to be giving 3 days to XYZ when it comes to your calling. Do you need to edit that down to maybe 3 hours a week? And how can you create time in your schedule so that you can hopefully that's making sense, where you're taking your schedule and your life as you know it and your kingdom calling, edit them so that you're creating these time bubbles. Okay, now I'm just going on and on. I'm pretty sure you probably get what I mean. Edit them so that they fit. Enough said. And lastly, I'm just going to say that this might be a problem that you are going to solve right now after watching this video. You might solve it now. You might need to solve it again next week. You might need to solve it again 3 days after that, and then another month after that. This may be an ongoing problem depending on your life. Maybe all of a sudden something's just going to click and you're going to be able to run with it, and it just works. Or you might, like me, need to keep on solving this problem because this lie, belief, and helpful thought that just keeps on popping up that you don't have time is likely not going to die easy. And so it's going to be something that you're going to need to just work through time and again. And every time you do, it's the truth and how do I want to say it? That every time you work through it, the good starts to take hold a little bit more, and it starts to grow a little bit more. And so that the things that you're wanting to have time for will begin to get more of a root system. Spring's right around the corner, so let's just talk about plants. But yes, it totally begins to get more of a root system. So you know how when a plant is, actually I just pulled up the roots from a sunflower plant. I could almost not get it out of the ground because it was so deep. So last year when I planted the sunflowers, it would have been really easy to pull up because I just planted them. This year, when I had pulled up the root system, I had to really, really yank on the thing because it had a huge root system, and it was just this massive blob of dirt. And so every time that you work at this and that you tackle it time and again as often as you need to, then it creates a bigger root system and begins to really take hold on your life, in your life. I don't know, however you want to say it. So I'm going to end this with this sentence, the phrase, the quote, I don't know, whatever it is, the exhortation to refuse to be unsolvable. Refuse to have unsolvable problems in your life. No matter how long you have believed the lie and come to believe it as that is just reality, that you don't have time, begin to refuse to just make the choice that you're not going to be okay with this being unsolvable. You're not going to be okay with not having time for your kingdom work. Your kingdom work is important. It may be small, but that small thing can grow. God is really, really, really good, really good at taking the small things and working his purpose and his truth, his kingdom. His kingdom really does come through small things. So please, please, please do that thing that is on your heart to do for him, and let it be small, and let it be messy, and let it take little bits of time that are well placed, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm so terrible at trying to wrap things up, and I just don't wrap it up. So until next time.